My name is Charity McNally Kerrigan, and today we're going to be talking about morning rituals with our children as part of our sleep journey with our families. This topic is a very important one for me because it was one that I didn't think about before I had children. And even after our first child was born, who was pretty laid back and easygoing and didn't connected very easily, we weren't quite ready for the amount of work we would need to put in for a child who was a bit more sensitive. When we met our second child, we were quickly aware that the need for sleep was significant for this child and that their temperament was going to be quite sensitive to physical needs, to physical hunger, to being tired, to having to go to the washroom, that these were all felt very intense for this child. And morning was the hardest part of our day. I've always been a morning person. I don't mind getting up earlier than the kids to get things ready. That works for me. But I wasn't aware of how to support the child's deep physical needs. His transition out of sleep, he didn't wake up slow. He woke up like fast and ready to go for the day. So this is where we did a lot of wisdom seeking, a lot of research, a lot of reaching out to counselors and support to try to figure out how to go about this. And I want to share with you some of the things that we found that really worked. One thing we noticed was that the mornings had a bit more rush to them. We had kind of nailed down the transition to bed, but the mornings, we were getting ready to go to work, getting dressed. Maybe that's one of us might be on the phone a little bit more or checking our emails to know what we needed to do for the day. And there was a lot of disconnect that was happening that we weren't even aware of because, you're just starting your day. You shouldn't need anything yet. And learning that wasn't the case was really important for our family. So we had to find a way to reconnect. So what we started doing was making sure that when the child woke up, phones were down, computers were closed, and that we just made space. They just needed to be held for about 10 minutes every morning. They needed to know that I wasn't going to move, that I wasn't going to get up or do things, that they really needed that time. Because they didn't wake up slow, they really needed that time to reconnect physically with the parents, with either me or my partner. And that can be really hard if you've got a million things to do or you have a short window or the bus is coming. So trying to find a way to lay beside them as they wake up so that physicality is there right away. That was just such a huge, hungry need for them. The other thing we employed, again, same as at bedtime. So connection, attachment, the really physical attachment it felt for them that they had been away for a long time. They're still very sensitive to attachment. The next thing that we employed was rhythm and routine. We would have a predictability to the morning that made sense to them, that when they woke up and after we'd had our connection time, I would carry them, which seemed overwhelming at the time because why couldn't they just walk to the washroom? But kind of tapping that down and realizing that over meeting their needs really helped to satiate their hunger. So like carrying them to the washroom because they just had such a hard time coping with all the sensations happening at the same time. Like when you go to sleep, we're good at going, okay, you brush your teeth, you go pee, you have a bath, you wash your face, and then we go to your room. But in the morning, we didn't have the same flow. So creating that routine for them, okay, like let's help meet these physical needs one by one. And this isn't something they were able to do on their own. We really did have to be present for this connection to take place. And the last thing we did was we would bridge the gap. When they went to bed, we would talk about what their morning was going to look like, especially when it came to food. We would tell them what was going to be for breakfast because they were so hungry when they woke up and they were so overwhelmed that rarely was there a calm moment when breakfast was served that they were like, yes, that's what I want to eat. It was too much. It was too overwhelming for them to have any say in their breakfast or for them to have any pause in knowing that their needs were going to be met. Like as soon as they were hungry, it was overwhelming for them and we had to get them their food right away. So we created a menu plan that we talked about with them the night before. So when you wake up in the morning, there will be oatmeal and there will be hard-boiled eggs on the table. And that is what is going to be for breakfast. I could not believe how much peace this gave our child so that they didn't have to wake up and have all of these sensations and think that they were going to have to take care of those themselves, that we as adults understood that they were hungry and that they needed help going to the washroom and that they needed a lot of physicality. And we could do that. We were able to take care of those needs. So if your family is like our family and morning time surprised you because you got your bedtime routine down, you're rocking it, but how to meet the needs in the morning time. We created space for reattachment. We helped with a rhythm and a flow to help them meet their needs in the morning, so that rhythm was predictable and clear and they didn't have to worry about meeting their own needs. And then we added in that bridging. So when they went to bed, we let them know what the plan was going to be in the morning, especially if I had to work early or my partner was going to work early and that person would be missing. So if you have to leave and there's a caregiver that's coming, making sure that they know that the night before, so that as you're on your way out the door, they're not clinging to your leg. When you give them that, I'm going to wake up. When you wake up, I'm going to leave for work after I give you 3 kisses. And even if they're sleeping, when you have to leave for work, leave a note that said, I gave you 3 kisses. Just always bringing back that connection that this is what's going to happen in the morning, and then following through. So it's not that different than our bedtime connections, but it was a missing piece. And it took me a lot of research to find it was a part that I wasn't prepared for as a continuation of the sleep routine. That peacefulness, that contentedness, that connection when you wake up also has to be, it's the bridge. It's the bridge between bedtime and waking up. It's the bridge between being apart and coming back together and sinking into that relationship. So I hope this is helpful for any family out there that morning isn't as smooth as they hoped it would be, and something that you might find surprising. And I hope it gives you the connection and the peace that we were able to find after seeking out wisdom about this topic.